There are such universal themes in the Star Wars stories, and ironically, I think people feel that it, you know, despite being fantasy, science fiction, it reflects the world we actually live in its inclusiveness and diversity and conflict and themes of good against evil um, and so it's fascinating to experience that as a child, you know, to have your imagination so enriched by these stories, and then now as an adult to look back and rekindle my relationship to Star Wars, and in particular those Star Wars movies and the tone of this series, which I find is a little bit more Empire Strikes Back and a bit grittier and edgier Star Wars. That I realize, wow, you know, in terms of war and family and personal conflict and personal journey and personal relationships, it reflects so much what our actual reality as human beings on this planet is. I remember getting a call from my agent saying that Jon Favreau wants to meet you regarding a Star Wars project. And so I immediately said, you know, when and where. I wanted to meet Jon Favreau. I didn't care what he wanted me to do. I had no idea what it was, whether it was a feature or, you know, a cereal box. I had no idea. And so I go and I meet Jon at his office, and he invites me into this room that is basically, you know, corner to corner, covered in story illustrations of this project that he's working on. And there are all of these incredible images of a Mandalorian character. The Mandalorian, whose name is Din Djarin, is your iconically cool, flawed, mysterious, loner, gunslinger, that harkens to the, you know, best of the samurai movies and the westerns. And in talking to Jon, I asked him what should I be looking at. I know he loves movies. I love movies. What would you like me to watch? I asked him, and he immediately brought up Sergio Leone and Akira Kurosawa, Yojimbo, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And so he's very samurai Clint and me, and just wedge me into those two iconic characters, because he's also what I love the opportunity to make him as human and as accessible as possible, which is strange to say because it's impossible to get to him because he's covered in armor from head to toe. And yet, the idea is that, you know, he's relatable. We're all kind of covered in our own armor, you know, and terrified of taking that armor off. And that's the thing that crosses him over into a character that we're all going to really want to follow. I couldn't feel in better hands than in the hands of Gina Carano, who plays Cara Dune in the series, who is, you know, a band of misfits kind of come together in this first season. And she, being the other primary character in the first season, who is, you know, the toughest and the most dangerous and the most human. And she is also a survivor, a loner, and a reject. And you know how we draw to each other, us loners and rejects, and she's the one who can kick everybody's butt. We wouldn't be able to do this show without Dave Filoni. I think he is the truest lover of the material. We can all try to compete to his level of love, is just the best word for it, for the world of Star Wars. And we would all lose against him.